Hello and welcome everyone getting to another video. On today's video we have some battles from PL90. PL90 sent me battles as like a form of review their battles. So in these battles we will look at the trainers, their team, and we will try to provide feedback. This is some sort of like a free coaching I do, but like usually after I hit legend, it's open now by the way, I ask my viewers to send me battles and then I will give them my honest opinion on their playstyle, what they need to work on, and what the mistakes that they did. Usually it's preferred to send me like losses more than wins, because usually losses has way more room for a feedback on what you should be focusing on. PL90 said that they are stuck around 2800, so they are close to legend, so they kind of just need some specific matchup. So before we start, like the thing we need to look at is the team. So they are running Berserker with Lantern and Jelly. So what does the Berserker do? It's basically like a worst version of Escav, but that version of Escav doesn't lose to Mantine. In fact, you still like struggle into Mantine, but it's a better matchup. You beat the Jellicent, but you lose to the opposing Escav, and the Lantern matchup isn't as bad. So there is like some pros and cons into running Berserker, but to be honest, I prefer Escav more. After Escav as a steal, I prefer Alolan Sandslash, because like the teams you kind of build around them are better than the teams you build around Berserker. So this is like kind of a bad matchup where we have to swap to Lantern. The thing about swapping in Lantern here is that we do get to the move before them, which is actually good, and Lantern have a decent matchup, but usually when they are staying in, that means they will just go for the drill run and then bring their own Lantern. Good enough, we grab the shield, so that's like something good. I'm assuming that they will try to chip the Lantern and then go to their own. Drill run does a lot of damage, but you still don't shield, because you like Lantern's job here is basically to bait out their own Lantern. It might not do it most of the time, and we still don't have a clear answer to Lantern, because Lantern is also the most obnoxious Pokemon in this cup. It kind of like, because meta here is a steel and water, and technically everything here lose to Lantern. So in my team, I do run Ferrothorn as a hard Lantern answer, because you can't be weak to Lantern in this cup. So we will see that Trailblaze here, Berserker kind of make some play into Lantern, but the problem with Trailblaze, even when it's super effective, it does like less than neutral damage. So look at this. That's literally like a grass move would a grass move from a grass Pokemon would KO the Lantern here. So we boosted here, but we kind of have to shield, because we don't have another way. I think I would shield it and farm all the way down, and then just double close combat the Berserker, the Escape. But this does kind of do the same, but the bad thing is that we don't get to 2 moves, so this kind of like a tough. And remember that they still have a full HP Pokemon, and Jelly doesn't technically sweep. Jelly is safe to use to bait out the Lantern. I would always swap Jelly, but I don't like the combination between Jelly and Lantern together. I would prefer Jelly with Mantine, to be honest. This combination, like if I'm running Berserker. I don't know what happened there, but the opponent is not tapping. Maybe they just have a hard answer and they are just trying to BM, or maybe they just lost. Okay, they have their own Mantine. So in this cup, like Mantine is like your most valuable Pokemon. Berserker does need shields, so whenever you sack the Lantern, it's kind of tough to come back from. I don't think this was winnable for them, because we kind of made a good play by saving a 1 shield to Jelly and relying that the Jellicent with 1 shield will beat their backline. This is another game where like Berserker kind of is kind of underwhelming, because they outpace us and we still have to shield their moves. The best ideal play is actually catching a Surf at one point, sorry, a Hydrocan at one point. The problem is that Feraligatr is just insanely good when it comes to spamming moves. Like look, like we're boosted and they are still doing more damage. This is where their Lantern hard answer comes out. So again, if you wanna catch, if you know that they have a hard water answer, like as an example, when they lead Feraligatr, you know that there is a grass in the back, because otherwise their game is just top left into Lantern, and Lantern is very popular. So you go to Jellicent, because Jellicent has a better play, because like you have Hex, you have Shadow Ball, so that is much better than this. I know that it's so scuffed because Feraligatr does beat Jelly, but that's your only play, right? The Power Whip will KO here. Now we have to go back to Berserker, and sadly enough, The Thunderbolt, the Thunder from Pirathorn actually does enough damage to KO the Berserker that we have to shield. Even Power Whip does enough damage to KO almost here. Like, Power Whip does like 40%. We could have overfarmed slightly more there, and now we have to swap. Feraligatr comes in, and now we have to deal with the Feraligatr. I like going for the Surf here. Like, if they know shield, we know that we can Hex down. I counted 5, unless they have some residual energy. Yeah, so that shouldn't be it. The problem now is we CMP. Don't CMP them, okay? Just hope that they miscounted. One Shadow Ball doesn't KO here. So we kinda have to bait. So, okay. So one Shadow Ball, as I said, doesn't KO here because with Icy Wind it debuffed. So you don't throw this because this already doesn't KO, and they can like literally just call it because Shadow Ball does like here as after they are debuffed. So they have all of this HP to take down all of this HP. So baiting it doesn't make sense. If you're debuffed, never bait. If you're not debuffed, you can bait, okay? Just keep that in your mind. Never bait when you're debuffed. Berserker into his cap. See, like, Berserker is not getting any good lead, which mean, like, in this team, Berserker is actually a problem. Like, if you look here, we fell into the same problem where, like, we swapped in Lantern, and our Lantern is met by a grass. So, again, Lantern is not a safe swap. Lantern is a much better Pokemon in this cup than Jelly. They are more likely to be weak to Lantern than being weak to Jelly. So what you do is you use your Jellicent to bait out the grass, and Jellicent can still hit them with a Shadow Ball, okay? Yeah, it will bring them to this, and then Berserker can, like, literally just shield farm down or do something. But in this situation, we're just putting ourselves in a much difficult situation than what it should be. Again, because Lantern is not a safe swap. Because we know that there is Pharaoh in this cup, there is Cartanas, there is Ludicolo, and what else? I agree here with throwing on bad timing because we have to get this move off. Okay, we lived another one, so I would still throw on bad timing there. We go back to the Berserker. Like, you will see how much Thunder does. It does a lot. They baited. So you still don't shield there, by the way. You still don't shield. Because if they throw Thunder, you can just shield the one after. But if you call a bait, it's much better. So now, okay. So, okay. You saw that they swapped in. Throwing a close combat will debuff you, which means you will get a fat counter because you're going to be debuffed and the counter will be registered, and then like you will lose like until this HP. But in fact, what you could just do, just go Jelly. They aggressively swap, you swap because you have a hard answer for this. Because you know that the opponent saved their own Pharaoh because they know that you do have another water in the back. Yes, it might be tough, but to be honest, Jelly can just easily handle the Escavalier because they are in surf range. You don't even need to build up. You still live this easily. And the counter technically doesn't add up. Like, yeah, it will add up eventually, but at this point, we can easily live this. So, yeah, we can easily farm down here. Now they bring in the Pharaoh. Probably if they no shield, we can. And there comes the Lantern. And now we wish we have more energy, but no. Because, again, this team is actually weak to the opposing Lantern. And we need to find a way. So usually, like, whenever I build a team, I look at this. I'm like, okay, how is my team doing? So far, the Berserker hasn't won a single lead. So that clearly says that Berserker is just bad. Our Lantern is not getting used anything. Like, our Lantern is always stuck against the grass. Which means this strategy, whatever we're doing, is not working. So how could you do that? You always have to think about your battles. You always have to think on what is happening on your games. Berserker, not doing anything. Lantern is always on the grass. So you either switch this Lantern to like Mantine, or just don't swap it anymore. Because we've noticed that every time we swap Lantern, we just have no play, right? So maybe first step, if you don't want to change the team, just to start to swapping to something else. Because I honestly, like, I know people say that Jelly is a hard counter to Escap, but Lantern also destroys the Escap, so it's not kind of like a bigger problem. So I feel like we saw this scenario. We're gonna throw this, and now this is where they chip, and then they go to Lantern if they have it. So if you no shield, they have Lantern, we lose, because we saw this scenario happening before, right? I'm not trying to be rude, but like I'm just trying to provide my critique on this gameplay. And the problem now, like a much bigger problem, is that this Lantern is so loaded that we don't have any way to take this energy. So that's why I recommend using Pharaoh in this cup. But to be honest, something to mention here, like Fossil Cup is just so bad of a teamed cup. So sometimes I wouldn't say it's your fault that you're playing a bad team. It's like the cup is already bad. So your team is not bad. It's more like the cup is bad itself. I like the overfarm here. Like this hopefully will give us like a play. But now if they bring in a scav, get out. Don't throw this because you're double debuffed and you're going to be quad debuffed and the counter will do so much damage. Like look at our health. Our health is like 10%. And here it was like this. It will go down to this because the counter is so... The counter like critted, okay? Now we go to the jelly. They don't have a shield. They will try to chip us. I don't think there is a point of throwing this charge move. It doesn't KO. I don't know if there is a streamer. His name is Pokémon Go. He always say don't throw your energy unless it's lethal. So if you want to throw a surf, you need to make sure that the surf does KO. So here we have to hope that they don't have crunch, because if they have crunch, it's kind of a GG. And you know why we lost? That if you did not throw there, if you didn't throw, your Berserker will have enough energy to take down this Escape. But that counter, because it hit on the quad debuffed Berserker, did lots of damage, enough that the Escavalier was able to win the game later because the Berserker didn't have any HP. So that was something like to be aware of. Okay, moving in, we are playing Jamie. Jamie is running Lantern in the lead. This team does not have a Lantern answer, so they went to Escav. I do like this because this is actually the best reaction to, because you need to save your Lantern in case they double shield the swap and you didn't. And usually like they are weak to Lantern until they aren't, okay? They shielded here. We can actually shield. It's not the end of the war. Now you need to overfarm. 1. I would have actually done 3 there. Well, we will get 2 hexes, so it's kind of the same, right? They bring in the Lantern. The Lantern will take a Shadow Ball to the face, but it will be also problematic because, again... No, don't aggressively swap. Don't aggressively swap. So here is the thing. So when they had Lantern, they swapped out, which means they have 2 hard answers. This is how ABB teams work. If you see the opponent swapping out in a neutral matchup, that means 99.99% they have 2 hard answers. And if you look at this team, Lantern isn't even weak to Berserker. But what they swapped, the reason they swapped is because they have 2 fighters in the back, which means if you swap in aggressively, your steel Pokemon will be switch locked against a fighter. So if you look at this, see? So what was supposed to happen, you could even go to Jelly. Like, Jelly doesn't have that much HP, but remember that their counter is double resisted. You could even go to Lantern at this point. And this game is... I would say GG, but I don't think it's GG yet. There is a play. How did we get... Oh my... Okay, that was a nice call, by the way. That was a very nice call. I would shield, actually, here. Oh, never mind. They didn't even build up. So nice counting. PL90. That was a very nice counting. I wasn't counting. And now it's Lantern into Lantern. So we go straight for the T-Bolt. And they don't win this game because we have a shield saved. Now moving into the next game. Berserker into Lantern. We're yet to win a single lead with Berserker, by the way. They swap into Lucario. By the way, if they swap in Lucario, you go Lantern. Lantern is better because here they have Thunder Punch and Shadow Ball. And you don't want to... This is not bad either. Like, I wouldn't say that's a mistake. That's, like, manageable, by the way. We can just shield, match their shields. And that was a nice CMP. But we kind of need to leave this matchup with some energy. Okay, we get some energy here. Now we need to get to a Shadow Ball. So if we get to the Shadow Ball, that was calculated. If we don't... No, throw the Shadow Ball. Don't swap out. Okay, PL90. So this is the second time this thing happened. You might win this, but that doesn't mean because you played correctly. We played wrong here, but if you win, that's because you didn't get punished for the mistake you made. Okay? I don't mean it in a rude way, but what I mean here is... We have a Jellicent with a move, right? So here, throw your move, okay? Like, I know that they might have a Jelly, but if they have a Jelly, we have a Lantern for that. That will destroy it, okay? If they have a Mantine, we have a Lantern for that. So Jelly's job is already done. Jelly won you the swap and left the game with a Shadow Ball. So throw the Shadow Ball, let your Pokemon faint, and let others take care of the game. Here we will get to the close combat, but again, that doesn't mean it's the correct play, right? There was a better play you could do, and opponent let that move go. Now they have a Lantern that's full HP. And now the game is Lantern versus Lantern. We need to call a bait, kind of. But it's like based off whoever gets to the move. Remember that we do have a Shadow Ball, so baiting here is kind of our lose con. As long as we grab the second shield. This is like a 90% bait. But we have to shield. We can just go straight surf, to be honest. Oh, that was a weird glitch, visual, so I thought like we might lag there. Now we swap and we Shadow Ball. But again, if you throw the Shadow Ball, you would have gotten a shield, and then your Berserker and Lantern would have finished the game in a much clean way. Berserker into Mantine. Okay, is this the game where we finally win the lead? I am not sure though. Berserker has non-stab fast moves, and usually Pokemons with non-stab damage are actually bad. But there is an exception for the Escav. You don't shield here. You actually don't shield at all. Even if they throw the Water Pulse, you still don't shield, because like Water Pulse is a bad move, and their wing attack is resisted, and no matter what they throw, you should be throwing 2 Trailblaze. So unless they show the bait, don't shield until they show it, okay? That was a nice catch, and see, this is the difference. If you go to Lantern there, you would have lost the game, right? But now we went to Jellicent. And the Power Whip, you see that didn't KO because Jelly has some decent bulk. We throw the Shadow Ball. And we brought it like literally to 40% health. We still have the Mantine. So remember those games when you swapped in Lantern, they brought in the Berserker? We're in almost a similar situation. There is no way they shielded. So that was kind of a bad bait. You might be saying, I need to talk about this. So here, just close combat. Why? Because your switch is up. You can just swap out, okay? And no matter what happens, no matter what they have in the back, you will be switching out regardless, because they want to bring in the Mantine. They will bring the hard counter to this. So you shouldn't be throwing a Trailblaze there because it does you nothing, okay? Like, you might be thinking that they might shield. No, they don't need to shield that. Why would they shield? Their Pokemon has 0 energy, so there is 0 benefit of them shielding that charge move. In fact, now, because we threw the Trailblaze, we are gonna get much lower on health. Throwing a close combat here. This is like a resisted non-stab, so it doesn't do that much damage. Now we go to the Lantern, and here comes the Whiscash. And now we found a problem that our team doesn't beat the Whiscash. Okay, moving into the next one, we have Berserker into Pharaoh. This matchup is so scuffed that the Ferrothorn is actually not even considering swapping out. So if you like Berserker, I would recommend using Alolan Sandslash. It's actually much better. The opponent here is trying to bait out our Mantine, but we don't care because we're just gonna farm them all the way down, I'm assuming. Like, we're not gonna throw anything. I wouldn't bait, actually. Like, there is no way they shield. But I like that you're doing this because in case they are still going for the full farm down, you can throw 2 moves. I like this. I like this play, actually. See, so now, okay. So this is the difference between that when I told you first don't aggressively swap out. This is actually a good situation to swap out because they are switch locked. They brought a Pokemon that you beat with Berserker. Berserker is finally beating a Pokemon, okay? It only required us to have like 100 energy, and we throw in good timing. This is actually worth the shield. Now, we can't shield anymore, right? Because we need to save a shield because Pharaoh has so much energy. Never mind. We get to the move, so we should be in a good situation because the Shadow Claw will do so much damage. And yeah, that was finally Berserker did something. Another situation where you just swap out. Again, you don't swap to Lantern, just swap Jelly. What's the difference? If you go Jelly, they can't dynamic punch. Their energy is kind of useless. They usually stay in, throw an icy wind, swap out, and that's not a good use of their energy. Not that many Pokemons resist Jellicent moves in this cup. In fact, nothing resists Jellicent moves in this cup. So your energy always has a better use. It turns out that your opponent does not have a way to handle the Lantern. So this is a situation with that we're not punished because the opponent team is not balanced of a team. Okay. They get to the move. This is kind of annoying. So now, don't throw. Just get out. Actually, just get out. There's an argument about double close combat, but if it doesn't KO, what's the purpose, right? Well, we grabbed the shield, but I still think if we saved the Lantern, it would have had a much better situation, because here we have to shield the Zap and pray that the Zap doesn't debuff us. Okay, we didn't get debuffed. I would have overfarmed slightly. Always try to overfarm when you can, just to throw the opponent counts off guard. They still get to the move here. So, okay. Something to mention here. So Shadow Ball doesn't KO. I think it would have been much better situation to just double Surf. You throw the first Surf and you hope that they shield the second Surf. But that doesn't mean this is the correct play. That was like a slightly better of a play. I would double Surf there. Because they outpace, right? Now you have to pray that you live and you farm them down. But we don't live and we can't farm down. And they still have another shield. So we have to top left. Okay, moving into the next game. So Berserker again, not winning any lead. They swap into Togedemaru. Togedemaru is actually a hard-hitting Pokemon. The problem with Togedemaru is that it's not bulky enough to tank moves, and we can easily no-shield here and throw the Surf. They usually Fell Stinger to boost the Wild Charge. We can easily shield this. And then the Surf should KO. Because Togedemaru is bad unless they shield the Fell Stinger. When they shield the Fell Stinger, it's actually good. When they don't shield it, it's bad. Can we farm down? I don't think we can. So this is a situation where like the opponent just doesn't respect Lantern and they are getting swept by a Lantern. This is actually a decent play. So see, this is what I mean by when I say you need to aggressively swap only when they are switch locked. Don't switch lock yourself. So yeah, that was it. Thank you so much PL90 for sending us these battles. Again, your timing is good. I would say, you know, like your matchups, but the problem is like there's like some small decisions you need to be aware of. And again, if you think that your lead is not catching any good lead, you have to change it. I'm not saying that the algorithm exists, but I'm saying that other people also are trying to win games and they are also testing out Pokemons that are good at winning leads and stuff like that. So you also need to keep up, okay? Your opponents are getting better, so you need to get better as well. So, Berserker, they like completely in those two sets of battles, they didn't pick up a single good lead. I think only 1 out of 9. Safe swapping Lantern for the first set, it wasn't a good idea. For the second set, I feel like opponent just didn't have an answer for that. Again, Jelly is a much better of a safe swap. Thank you so much everyone for watching, and thank you so much PL90 for sending these battles. Good luck with your legend push. Hopefully you hit it this season. And if you are interested in sending and getting your battles review, guys, I posted, there is, if you go to the community center, community tab on the channel, you'll see that I posted an announcement if you want to get your battles reviewed. And yeah, hopefully, if you need any help, I will be able to provide that. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video. Make sure to like the video if you like the content, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. See you in the next one. Peace.